Oregon is going to the Final Four.
The following is a Learfield presentation of the Oregon Sports Network.
And Oregon is going to play in the national championship game.
This is Duck Insider.
We need to get community. We need this thing to be bigger than just our little circle of players and coaches.
Are you kidding me? Touchdown, Oregon.
With 2 seconds on the clock. He hits it!
That's the bigger picture in this thing, allowing the community to celebrate the hard work, blue-collar mentality this group brings to the table.
And the Ducks have won it! The Ducks have won!
We get to struggle together, and we get to have joy together.
The Ducks are Pac-12 champions!
I am so proud right now to be the head coach at Oregon.
Oregon's a Fiesta Bowl champion in a 12-win season.
This is Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield, presented by OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Now let's go live to the Country Financial Studio to talk Oregon Duck Athletics.
Welcome into the Country Financial Studio after a packed weekend in Oregon athletics. There was a whole lot going down on the basketball scene. The men went down to Los Angeles and split the road series against USC and UCLA. Only one game this weekend for Oregon women's basketball, and it was a down-to-the-wire battle yesterday against Oregon State. If you were not at Matheson Arena yesterday, I don't know where you were. You should have been. It was a phenomenal game all the way down to the wire. We've got Oregon softball in just 3 days. Yeah, it's Monday. Oregon plays on Thursday to open up their season in Florida. Also, we've got Oregon track and field. I was able to go out to Hayward last week and talk with Maddy, Elmore, and Jaida Ross. And we've got Oregon golf, both on the women's side and on the professional side, as well as a whole lot more in what was an incredibly jam-packed weekend throughout Oregon athletics. But let's start on the road in Los Angeles on Saturday, where the Oregon men's basketball team fought through some adversity against UCLA. It was a late tip to start the game against UCLA. Tip pushed back about 20 minutes from a 7 o'clock tip time to about a 7:24-ish tip time in Los Angeles. And the reason for it was that Oregon couldn't get to Pauley Pavilion. Yeah, Joe Biden was in Los Angeles, and the presidential motorcade came right by the hotel that Oregon was staying at. And, well, the Ducks couldn't move the bus. They were stuck in gridlock and couldn't actually get out of there for about an hour and a half. So the Ducks actually showed up to Pauley Pavilion about 20 to 30 minutes before the scheduled tip time and about 50 minutes before the actual tip time and the abbreviated tip time of the game that actually was played between the Ducks and the Bruins. And, well, Oregon got off to a little bit of a slow start with a bit of a wonky road game where UCLA, they jumped out to a lead, a 23-5 lead early in the first half, but that was not the way that the game would go for the entirety of it. UCLA, the 18-point lead early, you get a little nervous if you're a Duck fan, but Oregon in the first half chipped away and continued to chip away. And how about Jadrian Tracy in the first half? He went on a solo 9-0 run as part of a greater 14-0 run to bring the Ducks from down 13 at one point to up 1 right before the break. So a tremendous job by Oregon to be down as many as 18 early in the first half and end up taking the lead by halftime. And it takes a lot to make a comeback like that and swing things like that with everything that Oregon had to go through. And it has to, in some capacity, affect somewhat of the game that was played, and it takes a lot of energy to answer like that. Oregon came out into the second half, and it was a back-and-forth second half with Oregon and the Bruins, and it was UCLA that went on really the first run of the second half. The Bruins got up 9 with about 10 minutes to go in the ball game, and then immediately after the Ducks and the Bruins were going shot for shot, UCLA goes on the run. Oregon answers with their own run. They get it back to a tie ball game with 5 minutes left, but then it was UCLA who ended up going on the final run of the ball game and ended up taking the game from Oregon, 71-63 the final score. Some stats individually for this ball game for the Ducks. Ducks, Jadrian Tracy. He had 15 points, including that solo 9-0 run. He was a huge spark that really let Oregon get back into the ballgame despite the loss in the first half. Tracy also had 3 rebounds as well. And Folly Dante, he's had well-rounded stat lines pretty much every single game since he's come back from injury. In this one, 16 points, 8 rebounds, and then how about the big fella facilitating? 4 assists for Folly Dante. And Jackson Shelstad, a slow first half, didn't get on the board in the first half, but in the second half, he kept the Ducks in it. 10 points all coming in the second half for Jackson Shelstad, the freshman, where he found a new rhythm out of the halftime break. A bit of a wonky game for Oregon with a whole lot going on, not only before but during. And, well, Dana Altman, he caught up with Joey Mack down in Los Angeles after the game to talk about the result for Oregon men's basketball. Here is Coach Dana Altman.
Well, Coach, I know got down big, fought all the way back, and then Bruins just came away with it at the end. Some of your takeaways here tonight.
Well, we needed to hit some shots there. We had some really good looks to take the lead, keep the lead in the second half, and we go 1 for 10 from 3. And again, I thought we had some really good looks. I know we did. You know, KJ had a really good look. Bam had 2 good looks from the corner. Jackson had a good look from the top. We had to hit something. We didn't hit it. But you know, we didn't get stops, and you know, part of it's my fault. We should have changed some things up a little bit more, but you know, a lot of what they were getting was just we were making defensive mistakes. I'm not sure it would have mattered what defense we were in. You know, our ball screen coverage, we're supposed to be going under picks. Guys were going over, and they're getting the looks. We only hit 1 3 off a ball screen, and that was the last one really late. And for whatever reason, our guys, you know, just didn't make the adjustment, and we made a lot of mistakes. So that's on me. It's my job to clean up mistakes, and we made too many of them to beat a team that's playing pretty good.
Got down 23-5 and then ended up winning the half, Coach. What'd you see there at the end of the first half to close on the 16?
Well, we got stops. You know, we're getting out-rebounded at the time, and then the last 4 minutes when we made a run, we got 7 of 8 stops. We out-rebounded them 6-2. But that was the only 4 or 5 minute stretch that we truly won. You know, Bam hit some shots, which, you know, gave us some energy, but we still out-rebounded them 6-2. We got 7 of 8 stops. You know, it was a great stretch for us.
Takeaways heading out of this one, Coach, going back home.
Well, we got to do a better job as a coaching staff getting these guys to eliminate some mistakes. We got to do a better job executing some stuff. We had some bad turnovers to start the game that really, you know, the whole you mentioned, 23-5. You know, we had 5 turnovers in the first 10 minutes of the game that led to a bunch of points. And so, you know, we shot ourselves there in the foot and just didn't get off to a very good start. But, again, we recovered from that. We were doing some good things. We didn't get the stops we needed.
All right, Coach. Thanks for the time. Always appreciate it.
Thanks.
That's Joey talking with Coach Dana Altman post-game, and it's kind of hard to get into a game like that or evaluate a game like that when you start out down 18 so early and then battle all the way back. It is difficult to evaluate, but in the Pac-12 standings, Oregon, who was tied with Arizona at the top of the standings coming into the week, Oregon drops that game. Arizona swept the Bay Area schools over the weekend, so the Wildcats up at 8-3, and then Oregon tied with Washington State now at second in the Pac-12 standings at 7-4 before the Ducks will play at Mathewson Arena against the Washington schools coming up next weekend. That is Oregon men's basketball in their battle against UCLA. It was another similarly contested battle, one that was a lot tighter for a lot more of it for the women on Sunday. We're talking with Coach Kelly Graves, Chance Gray, Filipina Che, and we're breaking down all things women's hoops from Sunday when we come back on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by your local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Hey, son. How are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, the loss of who you thought you is.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics. Listen to the Sound It Out album and get tips and tools to start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. I'm Ryan Milano, bringing you the whole way through today's show. Just talked Oregon men's basketball up against UCLA on Saturday. Now it's time for the women, who were in action yesterday on Sunday against Oregon State. For the last time in the Pac-12 era, in the regular season at least, Oregon and Oregon State going after it on the Matthew Knight Arena court, and it was a battle early. The Ducks, they got up 7-2 to start in the first quarter, but it was not a game where any lead was really safe. And even though Oregon State sustained a lead for a majority of this game, it was really a back and forth affair where it seemed like the Beavers were up by 5-7 and the Ducks would cut it to 3-2-1, tie the game, and then it would go back and forth all the way through. So after the Ducks got up 7-2, this is where Oregon State answered and really got their opening lead. Their potent offense went on a run towards the end of the first quarter, and it was actually 19-11 Beavers at the end of the first. Then afterwards, Oregon would respond. The Beavers stretched it to as much as 13 in the second quarter, but the Ducks went on their 10-0 run. And here's where things start to really get that seesaw back and forth the whole way through for the rest of the ballgame. The second half, it felt like it was clutch shot making on both sides. You had a Chance Gray 3, and then on the other side, Oregon State would answer. And then one way down, Filipina Che, she'd finish on the block, and then Reagan Beers for Oregon State would do the same thing. Grace Van Sluten would get involved, and then Tamia Gardner for Oregon State, who had a career game as well for her. It was back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and it came all the way down to the wire. The Ducks tied it up early in the fourth quarter. It was the first time the Ducks were tied in the ball game after they got down by as much as 13. First time that they were tied since the 4:09 mark in the first quarter. So Oregon battled all the way back, and down the stretch it continued to be back and forth and back and forth. As much so as the Ducks got within 2 points with 10 seconds left in the ballgame. Actually, Filipina Che at the free throw line with a chance to cut it to 1, split the trip, and, after that, Oregon State was able to go down, make a few free throws, and end up walking away with a 64-60 win. But it was really a strong performance defensively, offensively for Oregon, especially for the big three for the Ducks. Filipina Che had 16 points in the ballgame, and get this, 18 rebounds against Reagan Beers, who gave Filipina Che a challenge the last time these teams faced off. It seems like Philly continues to improve game after game after game, and Coach Graves, he'll come on the show for Tip-Off Tuesday tomorrow. But it seemed like in the postgame, which we'll get to in just a second, that he was happy with the matchup and how Philly matched up against Reagan Beers. Also, Chance Gray scored 15 points. Grace Van Sluten scored 14 points. The big three for the Ducks combined for 45 points in the ball game. A well-rounded effort for the big three for the Ducks, and defensively for Oregon, they stopped a lot of what Oregon State wanted to do. An Oregon State team that scored 93 in their last game out against a top 25 Utah team. We'll hear from Coach Graves and all of his reactions post-game in the Willamette Valley Cancer Institute head coach's interview, Fight Like a Duck with Exceptional Cancer Care close to home. Here is Coach KG.
Well, I will give an opening statement this time. I'm just really disappointed for our team. I thought we played a really good basketball game. We played really hard tonight. Gave ourselves a chance to win against a good team, and, we fell just a little bit short. But I'm really proud of the effort, and, I keep believing that good things are going to happen with this group. And, we had a good week of practice leading up to this game, and, hats off to Oregon State. They made the plays late. So.
Is there any of the possessions in the last minute or so that you're really kind of kicking yourself over?
Yeah, the one where I had to call my fourth timeout. We got the steal. We wanted to push it. We didn't want to waste the timeout right there, figuring that, we could use that, and we ended up needing that one late. But it looked like we were a little unorganized. I thought we were pretty clear, and we wanted to push it and get downhill and get to the basket on that. But that's okay. But other than that, I thought our late game was pretty good. We haven't been, quite frankly, into a lot of close games late. So, I thought for the most part we made the right plays. We were really aggressive tonight, and I thought that made a big difference. I thought Chance was aggressive. I thought Grace was aggressive to the basket. And I thought Kennedy Williams came in, played a really good basketball game for us tonight. She was able to get downhill and get into the paint and create some stuff. She's not been practicing full-time with us, and but we needed her tonight, and she stepped up and played really well.
What about the battle between Philly and Beers? What did you think of that?
Well, pretty good. I think it ended up a wash. Beers made that one late, but she got off to a really good start. But those are two really good centers battling there. That was a good matchup. They got contributions from, a little bit more than we did. I thought our big three, Chance, Grace, and Philly, really had a great ball game. They had that fourth scorer tonight, and that made the difference.
What can you say about Philly's development this season and just how she's come out in the last few years?
Yeah, Philly's just been tremendous. Great attitude. She's working her butt off. It's not easy doing what she does. I mean, everybody bangs on her. I to be honest with you, I think she draws more fouls than she's getting in a game and on a score sheet here, and that's difficult. She's tough. She's getting double teamed most of the time. Usually makes the right read. I mean, they double teamed one time. She made a beautiful pass to the weak side, and we just didn't convert the wide open three. That's been one of our issues all year long. We weren't shooting it that well from range, and so they get tighter and tighter on her.
Kelly, you said that you've still got belief in this good things for this team. Where does that come from when the results haven't been there, and what does good things look like for you, considering the hole that has been dug at this point?
Well, the hole's dug. Yeah, hole's been dug. Yeah. I mean, I'm a positive guy. They might not always feel that way, but no, I think our kids, we have good character. They're still working hard. They get along. They have fun. We're just a little bit shy right now on just getting enough contributions from enough people. But the attitude's been great, and and I think they see tonight this will encourage us as much as discourage us. We're disappointed that we lost to the Beavers, but we got to feel encouraged that the next one could be different. I know I was watching TV. I mean, we got 4 in a row against ranked teams still. This was our 3rd in a row. We got 4 more. That's as tough a schedule as there is in the country. So we can't, feel sorry for ourselves. We got to get back up and play the Mountains.
What did they do in the fourth to get answered free?
What?
To get Hansford free, to get her open.
Well, they set an illegal screen on one in the corner, and then the other one, I think Grace was right there. I think we just got to close that gap a little bit more. I thought she was there, and we had it defended. But they can put snipers all over the court, and it's tough to carry, to guard them all. And so I thought that's why I give Philly a lot of credit. She, we can't give her help on Beers. It's one-on-one. It's one-on-one. And, and you try to stay home on the other, but they execute well. They really do. They've got a bunch of different kids that can make plays. Look at the bench tonight. It was 34-11. I'm actually happy with the 11 because that's more than we're typically getting. But when you're getting outscored 3-1 off the bench, that's big. Her and Gardner.
Yeah, the floodgates kind of open for both teams there in the fourth quarter. You had a 21 quarter. What do you think led to that? Was it just the pace picking up, or?
Yeah, I think just two teams being aggressive, and this is as good an offensive game as we've had in conference. I think it's our most consistent effort in conference so far.
John, in the big picture, you haven't had a losing record this deep in the season since the end of the year.
I don't care. Doesn't bother me. I'm just doing the best I can every day. So what's the second point to that?
It's an unusual situation to find yourself in.
You got that right. Yeah. We're not used to being in this position. So all we can do is try to win the next one.
That point late in the first half where Philly dove on the ground to get the offensive rebound, kicked it out to Chance, really got the crowd going. Was that one of your favorite moments you've had from this team this year?
For this year? Yeah. Well, I mean, that's great. I thought our kids played hard tonight. They really did. I couldn't quantify what my favorite moments are. Yeah, we kind of learn from this, watch it, and then we move on.
Has it been harder to be the positive guy that you are at times this year?
Well, sure. I mean, this is, James just mentioned it. I mean, I haven't been in this position in a long time. I mean, our first year here, we didn't win a ton, but obviously it was our first year. So, that's to be expected in a program that hadn't won a lot. We obviously built something pretty special, and we've, kind of let that go for, whatever. There are a lot of different reasons, but, we're still a young team. We've had some injuries. When you don't have Sophia out there, who's our best defender, again, it's a team like Oregon State where you've got to defend because they make you pay for every mistake. And, but yeah, we're still working to win this year, but I'm confident that we'll get the program back to where we want it to be. Yeah.
Is there an update on Sophia's injury that you're able to share at this point?
Nope. And I stay out of the training room. I learned a long time ago. I don't want anybody to feel like I'm, pressuring somebody to get back. So I'll say, hi, how's she feeling? Talk to her, and that's about it. Coaches get in trouble when they start hanging around that training room and wanting to know when so-and-so's going to be back.
That's Coach Kelly Graves breaking down the game against Oregon State, the 64-60 loss for the Ducks, and what was a tightly contested game all the way throughout in the midst of a 7-game ranked opponent streak for the Ducks. They've still got 4 more coming off of the back end of this one, but the third one was a tough game all around. Tough game for Oregon, tough game for Oregon State, and just a gritty game throughout. Philippina Che and Chance Gray combined in this ballgame for 31 points, and Philly had her 15th double-double of the year. They met with the media postgame. Here is the combo for Oregon women's basketball.
For both of you, just your thoughts on the effort the team put in tonight despite the result.
Yeah, it was a hard-fought effort for sure. Like Kelly said, it was a couple missed plays here and there that kind of led to them kind of pulling the game out themselves. But it was definitely a hard-fought effort. I feel like everybody went in and played their role and played as hard as they could. So
I was going to say the same thing. I think everyone came in and gave their all, There wasn't, any weak link today, so, yeah.
Is your confidence, Philly, to the point now where you look forward to a matchup like this and battling with a player like that and more than holding your own?
Yeah. Yeah, I'll say, yeah, I've been working on it, so I'm definitely ready for any kind of competition now.
Phil, you dominated the boards yet again. How do you think your game has grown in that particular aspect?
I don't know, honestly. Sometimes the boards just come to me, I do work on it, but yeah, I don't know.
Chance, they're sitting super deep in drop coverage the whole time. What was the adjustment for you to try to be able to score against that?
Just shoot it with confidence, make them step up. Yeah, and that's kind of what worked the second half for me, for sure.
Jackson, you guys have done better in the second and third quarter defensively. What happened in the fourth quarter where, while both teams were successful, you guys have really done a nice job in both quarters, but Hamster got free and they put up 23 points.
Yeah, I just had to make adjustments. Let a couple people get loose, and then that contributed them scoring most of their points. Not really much else I can really say on that, just besides those are the plays that contributed to them winning the game probably.
What was working for you guys in that fourth quarter? Was it just kind of the amped up pace, or the shots were falling for you too? You scored 21.
Yeah, shots were definitely falling, and the crowd, I would say for sure, that always gives us a lot of momentum. Just trying to play as hard as we can. We really wanted to win the game, so it's kind of what carried us.
I feel like felt like you were really fighting for those offensive rebounds. Does playing against a good center like Beers really get you up for this game and make you want to fight extra hard?
Yeah, I mean, I want to fight extra hard for like any game I play, you know.
Who, Philly, for you, have been sort of the people that have been in your corner this year and helped you sort of develop as a player, and then, you know, how important has the experience of this season been for you?
It's been great. You know, I get support from my coaches and teammates. You know, they're always hard on me, even from practice when I miss layups, you know. I always have my teammates on me telling me to make them, so I say everyone on the team.
That's Chance Gray and Filipina Che breaking it down with the media postgame against Oregon State. You'll hear more from Chance Gray coming up on Tip-Off Tuesday. She sat down with Chris Clayton. You'll hear that on Tip-Off Tuesday tomorrow. Also, Oregon women's basketball, they continue a torrid stretch against ranked teams. They just played Utah and Colorado at Matthew Knight Arena. Well, it's flipped. Ducks go to the Mountain Schools coming up next weekend. That's what's next on the docket for the Ducks women's basketball team. What's next on the docket for Oregon softball is just 3 days away in Florida to kick off their season. We got to take a timeout, but we'll hear from the new backstop next on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
At Shadow Hills Country Club, we're more than just an award-winning golf course and practice facility. Our events team offers all-inclusive event pricing that allows us to take care of all the details while you enjoy your event. Our indoor and outdoor venues offer you a wide variety of fully staffed options that put the focus on you. From weddings to business and social events, at Shadow Hills Country Club Events Center, you get the benefits of a resort atmosphere and amenities in a peaceful country setting, just minutes from downtown Eugene. Call for a tour today or visit shadowhillsevents.com.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Tom has been a teacher for over 40 years. One day, I think one of the students had asked the question and he didn't remember the answer. And I also noticed that he was letting his class out earlier than they were supposed to let out. I was really starting to worry.
Levi and I talked about how it would change our lives, but he was there beside me.
When something feels different, it could be Alzheimer's. Now is the time to talk. Visit alz.org/ourstories to learn more. A message from the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
Victor deployed for the first time to Afghanistan in 2003. He sustained a moderate traumatic brain injury. One of the most important elements of caregiving is taking care of yourself.
For many military veteran caregivers, their caregiving journey starts earlier in life and lasts longer. Visit aarp.org/caregiving for a free military veterans guide to navigate your caregiving journey and better care for your loved one and yourself. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
We're back on Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union here in the Country Financial Studio. It's Ryan Milano. We just talked hoops for both the men's and the women's side of things as Oregon battled against both UCLA and Oregon State over the weekend on the men's and women's side of things, respectively. Now we have to switch gears to the Diamond Sports. Yeah, it is Diamond Sports season officially. I'm crowning it now. We're 3 days away from softball first pitch in Florida. Yeah, and there is a brand new backstop for Oregon. Tara McGowan, she was back behind the dish for the Ducks for more than a few years and tallied more than a few accolades, but it's a transfer coming in. Emma Koff, who is going to replace Tara McGowan behind the dish, getting caught up with the new catcher for Oregon softball. She spoke with the media last week. Here she is.
This team, losing Bunker and Tara McGowan, obviously lost in production. They're probably counting on you. What? Presumably that's not lost on you. What's it like, kind of knowing that you're expected to help come in and fill some of that?
Yeah, I think being a fifth year, I think I have a lot of advantage in that sense. Like, I've had experience playing in the ACC, also a very competitive conference, and now I get the opportunity to play in the PAC for its last year, which is a great opportunity. So it's going to be new teams and new arms for me. So I think I get to grow and learn in that aspect. So honestly, I'm just really excited to grow as an individual and kind of use that as my competitive advantage and take it on as a competition. So
you're a fifth-year senior, but you're still, by the nature of your position and that experience, you're also a veteran on the team and a leader. Mm-hmm. What do you expect to bring to this team, or what opportunities do you see that you can help the team grow with?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think with just experience in the past, being able at Tech, we were also make it to a regional my junior year, so I have that postseason experience, and I think it's just going to be a different role here in a good way. I think I can rely a lot on my teammates that are around me. And so I think just being able to build off of them and build our confidence off of each other and have kind of that leadership role where we can all just lean on each other is, I think, something that we're going to have this year that I'm really looking forward to.
Is it difficult to come onto a team that's had the same catcher for so long and maybe have some different ideas and some different thoughts, and how do you kind of ease into that role?
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, what I try to focus on the most is getting good relationships with my pitchers. I think where you have a good individual relationship with each one of them helps me grow as a catcher and helps me know how to work with them individually. Like Stevie has different needs, Taylor has different needs as a freshman, Reggie, different people have different experiences and needs. So I think me knowing that as a catcher and getting to know them well individually can help the team as a whole and help us blend together better.
Where are you at in that process? Do you feel like you're going to start the season kind of where you want to be, or is there still growth that will take place these first few weekends?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so. I think right now we're all at the point where we're just ready to go out and compete against another team. We're all so excited. We've been doing inter squads for the past few weeks. We've been able to get outside and actually be in the nice weather, which we've all been really excited about. So I think just going out there and facing a new competition, we're all looking forward for that because we've been really competing with each other. And I think we're excited to use all 24 of us now together and be able to compete against someone else besides ourselves. So
Hannah was talking a lot about the speed offensively, and as a catcher, just how much of a problem can a team with speed like you guys have cause?
Yeah, definitely. I think me as a catcher, I get to see the defensive side of it. They make me better from a catching standpoint because I have those individuals on our team who are going to push us, and they practice stealing second all the time, so I'm getting to work on my throws consistently. So I think us from an offensive standpoint and continuing to push that is going to make it harder on other teams and just kind of cause chaos where they can't slow it down, and we want to speed up the game in that sense.
You feel bad for the other catchers?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they make it hard on me, and so I get to get the advantage of that and get better at that. But yeah, they definitely make it harder on me, and they push me every day in practice. So I'm very thankful for them to have some fast teammates on our team.
What do you think has been the biggest adjustment for you so far getting acclimated to this team? Has it been getting to learn the pitchers? Has it been just the practices, getting used to the new environment here in Eugene? What has it been for you?
I think just for me, probably new environment and just kind of the level that the PAC plays at, and knowing that coming into it. I know there's a higher standard here at Oregon and what it means to be an Oregon softball player. So I think I kind of take pride in that, and I feel happy and privileged to be here on this team and be able to be a part of a team coming off of where they were last year and getting to build and grow off of that. I feel very thankful for this opportunity to be here and where we're set up going into this year.
You talked to a couple of the veterans who, we heard postseason mentality for them, nonstop last year. As someone coming in, how have you learned how they define that and what that means?
Yeah, I think postseason mentality for everyone, like everyone wants to get to that postseason, and it's knowing that at that time of the season, not everyone's going to have their best game. So it's how we can know ourselves as a team well and know what our strengths are and how we can build off of those and use that to our advantage when some people might not be at their best at that point in the season. So it's just whoever has the most grit and the want to win is going to be the team that wins those games.
Coming in and taking over the catcher position, you also have the unique opportunity to talk to Tara. How much have you kind of picked her brain about what she thinks and experience and has that helped you in any way?
Yeah, I think it's been great having her around. I think I just get to lean on her as that older role, like just asking her questions, like, would you do this in this situation? Or what do you think about this? And I think just like bouncing ideas off of her in that sense has been very helpful to me because I feel comfortable talking about it with her because she's been there, she's done it, she has that experience. So I get to learn from her too in that sense. So
you're a new player to the conference and to the team, but you seem to hit the ground running pretty effectively in the fall. I mean, there wasn't really missing a beat. How do you feel, as you're getting ready to go into play?
Yeah, I feel good. I think, like I said earlier, we're all just ready to compete and play someone else and kind of build off of that. We just want to go out and play someone else and compete to the highest level and just have fun doing it and start rolling into games, I think, is a different part of it. So we're all really excited to do that.
What do you think the strength of the pitching staff is and who's impressed you the most?
I think the strength of our pitching staff is that they're all their own individuals. Like they all have different looks to them, and I think they all have different strengths. So I think being able to combine that together, knowing you can rely on people for different things, like Reggie's drop ball pitcher, we're going to get outs on the ground like she knows, putting the ball in play, like that's her thing. She trusts her defense, so like that's her strength compared to where Stevie might be a little different. But I think all of them individually, they have their own different personalities, and I think as a whole staff together, that's what makes them all special, is that they can build off of each other.
That's Emma Koff, the experienced fifth-year transfer coming into the Oregon program to take over some shoes from Tara McGowan sitting behind the plate with the pads on, and she won't have to wait very long to get her first action as a Duck. Indiana on Thursday to kick off the season in Clearwater, Florida for Oregon. That is part of a 6-game tournament over 4 days, including a game on MLB Network against Clemson on Saturday at 4 p.m. Pacific time here in Eugene. So it'll be a late game over there in Florida, but here in Eugene it'll be pretty much right in the mid-afternoon. All of the other games will be able to be watched on the Game Changer app, and KWVA and Knight Uretsky will make the trip to Florida, so you will be able to get the radio broadcast of all of the games from the tournament in Florida, the opening weekend for Oregon softball as well. Coming up this weekend, where you'll be able to see the first action for Emma Koff and company as a Duck. All right, we got to get a timeout. We did something a little bit different coming up in the next segment. You're going to want to stick around on Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Dear winter, Toyota can't get enough of you, because Toyota's got 22 vehicles with available all-wheel drive and four-wheel drive, and that's more than any other auto brand. So you bring the action and we'll bring the traction. Always Toyota. Toyota, let's go places.
Based on manufacturer's websites as of 11/21/23.
Your daily dose of Oregon athletics. This is Duck Insider from Learfield.
Don't you wish your life came with a warning app?
Stop.
That dog does not want to be petted.
A heads up before something bad happens.
You should not send that text.
Uh-oh. Life doesn't always give you time to change the outcome, but prediabetes does. With early diagnosis and a few healthy changes, you can reverse prediabetes and prevent or delay type 2 diabetes. To learn your risk, take the 1-minute test today at doihaveprediabetes.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and its prediabetes awareness partners.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Welcome back to Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union. We've already talked about the men's basketball weekend in Los Angeles, women's basketball against Oregon State yesterday, and talking a little softball before the Ducks start their season in just 3 days on Thursday. Now, it's not very often as we switch gears here that we leave the confines of the friendly Country Financial Studio, but last week we were able to. I made the trip over to Hayward Field and was able to talk with two Oregon track and field athletes on the women's side that put together tremendous performances to open up their indoor season, both Maddy Elmore and Jaida Ross. Maddy Elmore, already the 3K school record holder, brought another school record to the Ducks as part of the DMR, where she ran the anchor leg, the second best time in NCAA history. So we're going across the river, we're going to Hayward Field, and here's my conversation with the distance runner, Maddy Elmore. We're here off-site at Hayward Field with Maddy Elmore of the Oregon track and field team. And Maddy, it's been one heck of a week. You set a school record in the DMR, the number 2 overall time. Take me into last weekend and what that was like.
Yeah, that was really awesome to set the school record. We were definitely going for the collegiate record, so it was like kind of bittersweet. Like when I crossed the line, we were less than a second from the collegiate record, so that was like kind of disappointing, but then we were like, oh my God, it was a school record. So I think it just speaks to like the level that we're going for this season, that we were disappointed with the school record. But at the same time, you can never, we're at Oregon, so a school record at Oregon definitely means a lot than like most schools, so yeah.
I want to dive into your journey because you've been in Eugene for a long time. You grew up here. You went to South Eugene High School. What was the journey like for you in recruiting and when you were deciding of which college you were going to run for? When did it come down to Oregon, or was it always Oregon being a Eugene kid?
Yeah, I think I wanted to like leave my hometown, so I tried to like go visit other places and like convince myself that I should, but then it was like, why would I leave Hayward on my visit? Like we were touring Hayward as it was being built, and it was just like, yeah, why would I leave Eugene when I've been here my whole life, and with this opportunity, I'm so glad I stayed, so yeah.
With the tradition of Oregon track and field, especially the distance program around here, what does that mean to you to be a part of it and to contribute, especially growing up around Eugene?
Yeah, it means so much to me. It's like very surreal. Like I just remember when I was here, like I would be in the old Hayward grandstands. I would watch them like win the Triple Crown, and that was just crazy. And like, yeah, just growing up here, I've seen all of the Oregon legends come through here, so it means so much. And then to like be breaking school records here, I'm just, yeah, it's very bittersweet for sure.
Harking back to the DMR over last weekend, what is it like to prepare for a DMR like that, the distance medley relay? When you're anchoring in that leg, traditionally, if you're running that 16, you're not anchoring. So what is the difference between like a normal 16 and then a DMR? How do you prepare for a DMR?
Yeah, it's definitely a lot. Like I felt a lot more pressure because you don't want to disappoint your teammates, and then especially being the anchor, it kind of feels like that leg makes or breaks it, and then also not knowing like, am I going to get the baton in front of everyone or not? So yeah, it's definitely a lot more mental preparation, I feel like, than a normal race. But yeah, I think just, and with everyone screaming, and like I saw the girl right behind me, so I think just staying in tune with like yourself is really important.
Take me into what practices are like around here. The number 3 team in the country. You guys have so many talented women, especially at that distance level. What are practices like? How competitive do they get?
Yeah, I think we really just it's definitely competitive, but we all are really good friends and just build off of each other, and that helps so much. Like if one of us is having a bad day, then the other person can just bring us along, and so it's so much better to have such a big group of girls, and then we all love our coach, so the vibes are just really good all the time.
What do practices look like? Take me through what a traditional week might look like for a fan that doesn't get access to the practices. How often are you running? What distances are you running? What does practice look like?
Yeah, it depends on the day. We definitely have usually 2 pretty hard workouts a week and then a long run, so basically 3, and then the rest of our days are just running and recovering and focusing on really showing up for those key workouts. And then we'll have different groups and stuff, but we pretty much know what to expect every day.
So when you're an athlete that runs not only the 16, but also can go longer distances and excel at both, top 15 times in both aspects, do you have a best event? What would you say is your best event? Or are you just a runner at heart?
Well, I'm definitely just a runner at heart, I feel like. But yeah, it's hard for me to tell because I definitely think I come from that strength longer distance for the 1500, 1600. So yeah, I think right now I prefer the mile, but right now my best event is the 3K based on my national ranking. So yeah, we'll see.
Continuing to move forward throughout the season, next event coming up next weekend in Albuquerque. What are your goals moving forward for not only next meet, but for the whole season as we continue to move through?
Yeah, we're going to Boston next week, so I'm running the mile there and definitely focusing on bringing my mile time down, and then hopefully just get a good block of training before nationals, and then showing up on nationals for either our DMR or my open event to score as many points as we can.
That's Maddy Elmore. Thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you.
That is Maddy Elmore of Oregon Track and Field. So a split squad meet actually coming up this weekend for Oregon Track and Field. Some of the track and field athletes will be in Albuquerque, and some of them will be in Boston. So Maddy Elmore and the distance crew will be in Boston, and Jaida Ross, the other woman who I was able to talk to last week, she will be in Albuquerque, New Mexico, throwing the shot put. So here is my conversation over at Hayward with Jaida Ross. Offsite here at historic Hayward Field with another woman of the Oregon Track and Field team. It's Jaida Ross, part of the throwing crew. Jaida, thanks for joining us here.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, happy to be here.
Jaida put in what was a tremendous last weekend over in Arkansas on the shot put, a school mark, and you continue to put up big marks over and over and over again throughout last season and now entering into this year where you have the NCAA lead.
Yeah, it's been a great year. I'm really happy with the first 2 meets, and I'm excited to just keep building, keep throwing. Yeah.
Take me into last weekend. Were you expecting a mark that big from that Razorback Invitational? And then when you do get that mark, what are the emotions like?
Yeah, so my goal going into the meet, I went in and I knew the meet record by Raven Saunders was 18:47. That was my goal. I wanted that. And so getting that was exciting, and then being top 8 in performing history for NCAA was even more exciting. And then winning the meet, I mean, it was a whole roller coaster of emotions. I was just a very happy meet. It was all smiles the whole time. So the energy was great. We had a good crowd, which we don't usually have over at the throws area. So it was great to have some people over there cheering and getting us hyped up. And it was just really fun. Just a really good time. So, yeah.
When you start with such a high mark already to lead off your season, where do you go from here? How do you build off of great to even better?
Yeah, so my mindset right now is celebrate those small victories, but I just know that this is a building. This is a building block. So we're still going. Came back right away, started lifting, started drilling. So, the work's not done. So that's kind of where my mindset is at, is we're just building. So getting ready for that indoor NCAA meet is where my mind is at. Right.
I want to flash back to before, when you even came to Oregon, when you were at North Medford High School. What was the decision like for you when you were making your decision, where you were going to go? Why the Ducks?
Why the Ducks? Yeah, the biggest reason is that this is home. I mean, that's where I went back to when I was deciding where I wanted to go, was how can I leave Oregon? This is my family's here, my pride is here, so it just feels good to wear that O and know that I'm representing Oregon and all those people back home and everything. So, yeah.
Oregon now starting to put together what is an established line of women throwers at the elite level, and you're part of that, continuing that legacy.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, Coach Blue is an amazing coach, so any woman that chooses to come here will have great success under him. So, yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about him. What is he like behind the scenes and part of this throwing program?
Behind the scenes, very particular. He is one of the most picky coaches that I've ever met, which is a very good compliment because if you don't do it right, we're drilling it until you get it right. So he's very detail-oriented when it comes to technique, and that only helps his throwers get better. And he's a great supporter. He's great on the emotional aspect and on the coaching aspect, so it's great to have him.
A two-event athlete, not only the shot but also the disc. How do you sort of balance going after both regimens?
Yeah, so right now with the indoor season, the main focus is just on the shot, but we train discus maybe 2 times a week. 1 to 2 times a week. So still out here training, especially when it's a beautiful day like this. We were outside earlier. So still training both events, making sure to not lose focus on the discus, but the main focus right now is on the shot.
Take me into what practices are like. The number 3 team in the country, when you guys are coming in, you have this established throwing group. What do the workouts look like, and then what does the competition in the workouts look like?
Yeah, speaking of competition, almost every week, my training partner, Kobe Lawrence, and we just have a shot put comp, 4-throw comp. We get kind of competitive with it, but it's a healthy competition, and it's great to have because it's not a meet, but it feels good to get some adrenaline going in practice. So the practices are hard. Again, very detail-oriented, a lot of drilling, a lot of focus on the little things, and just honing in on those small details of the throw. But at the end of the practice, sometimes we choose to just go at it and have a little competition, and yeah, so it's a really good training atmosphere and a great way to build.
You mentioned the mark and how you're continuing to build across that NCAA lead, going to come up next week in New Mexico. How do you build not only for that next meet, but also as you continue to move forward through the indoor season towards the outdoor season and for the rest of the year?
Yeah, so that just comes with the training, getting some technical aspects down, getting stronger, getting more focused in as the NCAAs comes up. So yeah, as time goes on, we just kind of get closer to it and just keep building.
That's Jaida Ross, Oregon track and field thrower. Thanks so much.
Thanks so much for having me.
Both Jaida Ross and Maddy Elmore will be in action coming up this weekend, starting on Friday. Maddy will be in Boston with the distance crew, and Jaida will be in New Mexico with the throwing crew. All right, we got to take our final time out of the show, and there's still so much more that went around Duck Athletics that we have to touch on. Yeah, it's a packed weekend, and we've got more to talk about. It's Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
As a local community credit union founded by teachers, OnPoint is committed to supporting the students and faculty at the University of Oregon. And on game day, we're right there with you, on the field, in the bleachers, and in the classrooms. Drop by our local branch today and discover the many ways OnPoint can help support your financial well-being. OnPoint Community Credit Union. People are the point. Federally insured by NCUA. Equal housing opportunity.
Hey Duck fans, we're all about protecting our home turf here in Eugene. You should do the same for your home with Country Financial Insurance. Most home insurance doesn't account for inflation, but with Country Financial, yours can. If something happens to your home, make sure you can rebuild the same house in the same place. Call a local representative or 866-COUNTRY and get a solid defense for your home. Home insurance policies issued by Country Mutual Insurance Company, Country Casualty Insurance Company, or Country Preferred Insurance Company, Bloomington, Illinois. Property must meet age and condition requirements, which vary by state.
You're listening to Duck Insider. Duck Insider on the Oregon Sports Network from Learfield.
Hey, so what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course.
You can run, but you can't drive high. You can run, but you can't drive.
Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always sing with me. So put your phone on D&D. That means that do not disturb when you're driving. And when you're going from point A to B, I need you to stay safe, please, so always remember this beat.
Don't drive distracted. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Welcome back inside the Country Financial Studio. It's Duck Insider, brought to you by OnPoint Community Credit Union, and it is time for your Cafe Yum 2-minute drill. Serving fresh food, fast, organic ingredients, enjoy a famous Yum Bowl at 23 Cafe Yum restaurants throughout the Northwest, home of the Ducks. We've already talked about Oregon men's basketball against the LA schools last weekend, Oregon women's basketball against Oregon State on Sunday. It is softball season. Diamond Sports are here. Softball season in just 3 days. And we also talked with some track and field athletes, but we got to recap what happened over the weekend. And for the Ducks, there were still so many more sports that were in action over at the Student Tennis Center. Both the men's and the women's team were in action over the weekend. It was the men's team who on Sunday was able to get the win over Wisconsin 6-1, and on the women's side of things, it was another Duck W, a 5-2 win against St. Mary's, as the tennis programs are continuing to churn forward to start out their season. For the Oregon women's golf team, they went down to Los Angeles, and it was a wonky weekend in Los Angeles all around for the Ducks, because it was originally scheduled, the tournament, originally scheduled to start on Sunday. Due to some inclement weather, it was pushed forward to Saturday. So the Ducks had 2 matches on Saturday and split them against top 25 teams. One against Mississippi State, lost to South Carolina, and then yesterday played against San Jose State and were able to get the win against the Spartans. Once again, another top 25 team. So all 3 matches against ranked opponents, the Ducks went 2-1. The final round that was abbreviatedly scheduled for today, it was originally scheduled for tomorrow, got moved to be scheduled for today, actually will be played no more because of inclement weather, canceled what was going to be Oregon versus another top 10 team in USC. So the Ducks won't be able to play against USC, but a 2-1 weekend against all top 25 teams down in Los Angeles for Oregon women's golf. And then how about a pro Duck for the Oregon men's golf side of things? Wyndham Clark, he went to the AT&T Pebble Beach Pro-Am and was able to get the win. Again, down in Los Angeles, both the Oregon women's team and the Pro Duck were at the same spot in Los Angeles, but it didn't seem to hinder either of them. The Oregon women's golf team had a great result, and Wyndham Clark shot a Pebble Beach course record in his 3rd round, shooting a 60, and he was oh so close to that 59. On 17, he had that putt, and it just missed, and even the eagle putt on 18 was pretty darn close for Wyndham Clark as he gets his 3rd win on the PGA Tour. Also in track and field pro Ducks, Jessica Hull set a new Australian record in the 3K with an 8:24.93. Also former Duck Izzy Thorntonbot was the pacer. So much more to break down over the week. Joey has you covered. Go Ducks.
Hey son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it. Navigating without a compass, eyes waiting, started to wonder. Metamorphosis, loss of who you thought you was.
When your kid can't find the language, help them find the lyrics.